Good seeing everyone here. We spent a little time this morning talking about some of these events that are going on right now. Give some of the family some time to kind of come in. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Good seeing everyone. Oh, there's no question. It's going to lead to World War III. Shalom, it's already started. People just don't realize it yet. Peace, family. Good seeing everyone. Got everyone already painted into a corner right now with all these events that are going on right now. I don't think it's going to lead up. I think it's already going on right now. Yeah, we know they're playing with the numbers. Yeah, they've been. Good seeing you, Rosie. Peace and blessings to you, Rosie. Thank you for showing up. Thank you to the moderators for coming on in and taking care of business and handling everything here in the chat. Yes, our new year coming up. This is going to be, it's already leading up to it. Amazing events already going on. Grand rising to everyone that's here. Good seeing you, Brother Capstone. It's going to be a great year. You are so correct. Fireworks have definitely started early. You know, a lot of these events are just pretty much leading us up to the, to our new year. You know, and it's just, you see how they're manipulating events. You know, I can't believe, what, $6.4 billion they got, going to Congress and getting $6.4 billion for the Ukraine. And someone said, but they got to do a study for reparations, right? You can just go get $6.4 billion, like no problem for Ukraine or for somebody else. But people have talked about reparations and, we need to get a study going before we can do anything with that. But you know what? That's okay. The Most High is exposing everything. Just like I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the video. I shared it. My son shared it with me a couple days ago about them not letting the Africans, or I'm not sure we don't know who, if they're Africans. I'm sure some of our people are over there too, but they would not let them on the plane on the train. They would let any of the so-called black people get on the train. And one of the women was trying to get on, and they kicked her off and let a white woman get on the train. And and they left all these black people there. And I heard what they were doing was they said, women and children first, then white males, and it pretty much, they weren't letting any of the so-called black people on the train. But they're still asking for prayers, still asking for us all to come together. You see what I'm saying? So I put the video in the description, in the community section yesterday. But you see what I'm saying? Like the Most High, but you don't see that, and it doesn't matter which media you're talking about. Right, the left, whatever else, they're all leaving that alone. They got nothing to say as far as that is concerned. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what about the, all of this, racism that is still all the way to the end? You guys are still being racist all the way till the end. You know what I'm saying? You know, nothing's changed. It's in your spirit. But you guys want to sit here and give us white Jesus, how we're all the same, how we're all equal. But you guys, I mean, even in the midst of adversity, you know, and people trying to just get out of town, you still break everything down based off of race. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, you still break things down off of race and still try to tell us that that's not what we're seeing. But see, that's, I mean, and those are the things that we're seeing. Imagine all the stuff that's been going on that hasn't been videotaped, that hasn't been shared, when before there was social media. You see what I'm saying? Like how bad things have been. And they haven't been, you know, telling people. But, you know, we've been making claims that this is happening, and then it's, oh, that's not true. You know, and it's like when someone made this first claim about, you know, this happening as far as like not letting black people on the trains, and it says sometimes they were making them go to the back of the train and stuff like that. But you know what they're going to say. People are like, you already know what they're going to say. Oh, well, you can't really make any judgments because you don't know the whole context. Or let me see your sources. Let me see your sources. You know, they're always trying to minimize the situation. They're always trying to, you know, justify the actions of people. And it's always some kind of, we can't rush to judgment. We need to know the whole situation, you know, and it's right in front of your face. You know, they don't care. They've always been about themselves. They've always thrown us to the back of the bus. Always haven't cared about if we make it or not and whatever. And they always worry about saving their own butts and everything. Nothing new. But you can see how the Father, even as all these people are, oh, we need to show solidarity and come in solidarity for the Ukraine. But then the Most High says, oh, okay, you guys want to do that? Okay, well, hold on, check out this video right here. And look at how they're treating so-called black people. Is that godly? Is that somehow, you know? So if you're doing that today, in 2022, what do you think you guys were doing to us when we were there 500 years ago, 600 years ago, 1,000 years ago? You don't think you were doing exactly the same thing? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just because a lot of people seem to think that racism only happened here in the Americas. But that stuff has been going on over there even longer. You know, I say going there even longer. But that's exactly what never had to happen before. You guys back? Is it good now? You guys can see now? Hopefully you guys can see it here. Okay. Yeah, I just cut off. I've never seen it just do that before. It just cut all the way off. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, come on now. It's like, you guys have been doing this kind of stuff to our people the whole time. You've been, you know, being totally racist with us this whole time. If you're willing to do that stuff right now in 2022, after the Most High has done all these things since 2019, and you guys are still being racist, I said that just shows you, that just confirms what we've been studying about how you guys have taken our lands, taken our history, even over there, and you've taken everything for yourselves. You've written us out of history. You see what I'm saying? So this just confirms that that's exactly what you guys have been doing over there as well. Not just here in the Americas. It's stuff you guys have been doing worldwide. And now the Most High is exposing you. He's exposing the fact that this is what you do. This is how you guys roll. You hate anything that's not you. And it was crazy in that video because they left. I didn't realize, you know, we didn't realize there were so many black people over there in the Ukraine. They were late. They left over there. But they've done that in all these countries. They've hidden the fact that we have populations in all these different countries. You know, so hey, you know, it's we already understand this. We understand this, as Most High has been showing us this, that it's exactly a wicked world. It's a wicked world, and the Most High is bringing destruction. He's bringing the pain. Now, it's funny because if you're listening to the news, you listen to like CNN, and they're talking about how, you know, I mean, you know, you're only getting one side of the story. And I crack up when they're like, oh, if you're listening to Russian television, you're getting propaganda. You're only getting you're only getting their side of the story. I'm like, it's kind of like what we're getting over here too, is it not? We only get one side of the story here as well, right? They keep talking about how Ukraine is fighting. It's such a great fighting force, and the fact that, you know, they got these, you know, this little military, and they're able to hold off this, you know, this superpower, and how great they are, and this and that, you know. And it's like, but you guys are kind of leaving out the fact that NATO's been giving them lethal aid for the last God knows how long, few months. And now I guess Germany said that they were going to start providing lethal aid for Ukraine as well. So it's like, yeah, you guys are giving them like top of the line, state of the art weaponry, you know, and of course, but that's just putting Russia in a corner. What do you think is going to be their response? They're going to respond to these things. I heard that they said something about like if they see people bringing in weapons, that they're going to bomb them. I heard that was like the last thing that Russia had said they were going to do. So, I mean, things are escalating. Things are escalating. They're not going to tamper down. It's not going to go back to normal, as much as people are like, oh, you know, they want to negotiate. So like, you guys think that, it's funny how they make it sound like after like 3 or 4 days of fighting, like everything's supposed to be done. You know, I was like, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. I don't know why people seem to think that you got 3 days, and after 3 days you're gonna take your ball and go home if you didn't accomplish all your goals. You know, I said, so it's this is like I said, this is the Most High. There was never really much peace before, since America's been a country that they've been at war. I think almost 90% of the time they've been in a country somewhere in the world, you know. So I mean, it's nothing new. I said, but they have the lethal aid going out, and they're supporting, you know, Ukraine, and they're giving them weapons. So therefore, you know, the Ukrainians are shooting down, you know, Russian equipment, planes, destroying tanks, destroying military vehicles, and all this other stuff. I say, yeah, but they're getting support from NATO, from the West. Okay, so it wasn't like they're doing all this stuff with these old weapons. Okay, now you think about Israel. You see, now the world, they manipulate events like that by giving, you know, their lethal aid, or, you know, or whatever else behind the scenes and whatever else to these people, and then they try to, you know, build them up like they're doing all these great things, but they're getting control. I mean, they're getting information. No, sorry, they're getting weapons, and they want to control the narrative. Okay. But see, the Most High has the ultimate lethal aid. Israel has always had that lethal aid that has been behind them. You know, I said when Israel goes to battle, we have the angels that are there with us. That's the lethal aid that the Most High has given to his people. And they're here ready to fight and get it in once again. Because we've moved out of our time of punishment, and now the rest of the world is moving into a time of retribution. That's, you know, Numbers 35 and 33. So the Most High, you know, he's controlling events too. He's controlling events ultimately. He's the one that's controlling the events. The world, you know, they have their faith in their sword. And that's what they've used to manipulate events this whole time. That's been their blessing. I said, but now you see the Most High is releasing his angels to now complete, you know, the rest of these prophecies. So if you start thinking about when Israel, you know, after they had raped Dinah, and then Israel's going from city to city and destroying these cities with just like the 12 sons and Jacob. You don't think that they had lethal aid with them at that time, which were the angels that were allowing them to be able to take down cities without losing a single person? And if you remember how when all of the Hamitic countries cities came together, there was like 600,000 of them plus. 600,000 plus of them came to fight against Israel. And Israel had the sons, and it had the few of the servants with them. There was about 100 of them. And he says, you know, that and the person said, their advisor told the Hamites, he goes, you guys, you know that if they're with their God, you're not coming to fight against these 100 people. You're coming to fight against their Elohim. And all of you are coming to get destroyed this day. If you go up against them, it says you're going to get destroyed. I'm going to say that that's pretty much the ultimate lethal aid right there. When you start to talk about hundreds of thousands of people coming to fight against 100 and them tucking tail and running away, that's what is going to be released on the earth. You got one angel killing hundreds of thousands of people overnight. When you got our angels fighting for the children of Israel once again. So you're not coming against these 100 people. You're coming against their power. And that's what like the world doesn't understand. They think that what they see here in this carnal world is power. But the Israelites have the ultimate power behind them. They have the Most High. They have the Holy Spirit. And they also have the angels. So as you can see, you know, how they're manipulating events, giving their lethal aid, which is just some weapons right now. And then they go with the news and make it seem as if, you know, wow, these are great fighters and they're doing this and they're doing that. The whole narrative has been manipulated to make it seem as if, you know, these guys are just so courageous and we all need to be praying for them. And, you know, I said, because these poor guys are just being picked on for no reason. But the whole narrative is being controlled. And that's why we need to stay out of it. You guys do your thing. I said, we already know both sides are racist. Both sides hate us. I was watching a little bit of CNN and they're just trying to show story after story after story about, oh man, we made it out, but you know, we had to leave our husband and, you know, back there and we're separated. You know, I could only, it was a mom and the mom and the kids could leave, but the husband was separated. Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. I can't believe this. What the hell do you think we've been going through? What the hell you think we've been going through? And at least you have the option of the hope of actually being reunited with your family. You have the hope of being reunited with your husband. When they sold the father, sold the mother, sold the sons, sold the daughters, they had no hope of ever seeing each other once again. But see, you guys want to put all of these little stories up on the news and you want us to sympathize with you. You want us to sympathize for the things that your people are having to go through right now. And that's just the tippity tip of the iceberg. You see, you guys have been doing these kind of things to us and you've just ignored the things that we've gone through. You know, these have lasting effects on our people that have followed us from generation to generation. This pain is in our DNA. And you just sweep it under the rug, ignore it. But I'm checking out CNN, and you guys are just showing story after story after story about how, you know, oh, this poor, you know, this kid is having to hear bombs, and oh man, oh, they have to play a game because of the bombs, and they have to, you know, play a game of hiding up for them to hide underneath the tables. What about our children when they were getting bombed at Black Wall Street? What about our children and the trauma when you go and you take one of our children and you tie them up to a tree and you have, you know, for alligator bait, and you let the alligator attack them so that you can try to, you know, make some money? What about when you guys tied up the biggest and strongest man of our group to 4 different horses and had the forces go 4 different directions and rip him apart and made us watch. But you want us to see a little bit of suffering from your people and all come together and all pray together for peace and prosperity again. You see, I said, so all of that stuff, like I said, that's what's going on right now. Is you guys are now showing a little bit of the things that are the discomfort, or the things that are, even with these things going on, you still prioritize yourselves. You still made sure that the white women and the white kids and the white men were the ones that were able to get on the trains, and you left all the so-called black people behind. So even at the end, you're still showing your racist tendencies. But you still are talking about how we all need to come together. Well, you're not all together with you. When you have the opportunity to do the right thing, will you do it? And when the Most High gave you an opportunity to do the right thing and try to save everyone, regardless of color, you still didn't do it, all the way till today. So what do you think is coming now? Said, you're manipulating events with your lethal aid. The Most High is going to control the events with his. So family, he said, keep praying to the Most High. Understand what's going on. Understand the fact that, these other nations are going to be going through things now. Even though now all of a sudden they're going to be wanting us all to come together and sing Kumbaya and come together, that's not what's going to happen. So the Most High has opened up your eyes to be able to see this truth and just stay out of it. This is on them. This is, I said, this is retribution for the things that have happened to us, that all the way till today, even when they have an opportunity to do the right thing, they still won't do it. And I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg of the things that are to come. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.